Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to my channel, Scale Model Kit Review. I am back with another installment of the Build a Ford GT from DeAgostini Collectibles. I am on stage 63 through 67, and that's pack 14. If you haven't done so already, head over to DeAgostini Collectibles and start your build today. You can start all the way from pack 1. Now, without further ado, let's get started. And welcome back to another installment of building the legendary competition Ford GT from DeAgostini Collectibles. I am on pack 14 and I'll be building stages 63 through 67. So we got a lot to do here, and let me show you one of the magazines just to give you an example of what's included with your subscription. And this is a fantastic issue here. It is about the Matex Ford GT. The magazines are about 13 pages, front to back, semi-gloss, color and black and white, but you can see wonderful photography and photos here and great articles. Of course, this is about the Swiss drivers that drive this version of the Ford GT chassis. You can see that. And then, of course, the build instructions. Alrighty, so let's look at the parts that are included. We start working on the back wheel and tires. Stage 63 is the beginning of that. Stage 64 is the other part of that wheel and tire. Stage 65 would be the tire. Look how big that is, look how wide. Stage 66, one of the brake and calipers for that side. And then we begin on the other side with stage 67. Let's begin with 63. Let's see what we're going to do in stage 63. Stage 63 is the engine sound test, but we did receive part of the outer rim and the knockoff. And you can see here, there's the outer rim and knockoff. We're going to complete that in a later stage. But we're going to need 3 LR44 batteries for this stage. Plus we need to bring over the chassis so we can install them right there behind the driver's seat. Once we do that, we'll go ahead and make sure that they are aligned correctly with the batteries. And we're going to push on the accelerator pedal to get the engine sound. Let me get the parts and I'll be right back. Here's the parts for stage 63. Let me take this out and I'll be right back. And we're going to need 3 LR44 batteries. They are not included with this kit, so be ready for that. Here's the chassis. So remember, the battery compartment is underneath this box behind the driver's seat. And we're going to put our 3 LR44 batteries into this. And you can see the button head on top is going to face away from the spring. Put the cover back on. And we'll go over here to the throttle. And the throttle is the long skinny one on the lower side. That works great. And that finishes stage 63. Let's head over and do stage 64. Let's look at the instructions for stage 64. We start on the right rear wheel. Here's the parts, plus the other parts we received in the previous issue. Going to sandwich those first two parts together like we did for the front tires. That's how that looks there. Make sure the pins are all the way through. I'm going to bring over the rim from 63. Sandwich that together. You may want to use a soft hammer to push all that together, and that's what it'll look like. Let me get the parts and I'll be right back. Here's the parts for stage 64. I'll take these out, we'll get a closer look. And here's those parts. They are both made of metal. I love the color of that orange, golf orange, and then the other part of the wheel. Bring over the rim from 63. Has the long tabs there. We're going to lay this down, and we're going to make sure that this nice side is sticking out, so it's going to go down just like that. Just like that. Push down all the way. Then we're going to take the other part of the rim, and we're going to put that right on top. And just take a small mallet like that. Go. That's how that looks there. A lot wider, isn't it? Very cool. That's all we do with stage 64. Let's get started on stage 65. Let's look at the build instructions for stage 65. 65, we received the right rear tire. That's it right there. And we'll get the wheel out. We need to heat up the tire. I usually boil it in hot water for about 2 to 3 minutes. Stick the wheel straight down in it and then rotate it. Let me get the parts and I'll be right back. Here's the parts for stage 65. I'll take this out and get a closer look. And here's that tire. Very cool. Look at the tread on that. Look how much wider that is. Let me bring over the chassis so you can see how it compares to the other tire. And there's the chassis. And look at the difference. Very cool. Here's the wheel. Let me heat up this tire to get it real pliable. You can see it's pretty solid. And I'll bring it back and heat it up for 2 to 3 minutes in boiling water. I'll be right back. And I am back, so we'll take the rim here and we're going to shove that down into it. I'll do it from the back side, and we'll turn it. And it's all in there. Looks great. Let that cool down a bit and I'll be right back. And that's all I do with stage 65. Let's get started on stage 66. Let's look at the build instructions for 66. This time I'm going to build the right rear brake. Here's the parts. Let's get a closer look at those parts. Nope. This time I build the right rear brake. Here's the parts. Start working on the brake disc. Drive shaft. We have a pin we need to insert for that. Put the brake disc on the wheel hub assembly. Install the caliper and the drive shaft. Then I insert that onto that wheel we just assembled. Let me get the parts and I will be right back. Here's the parts for stage 66. Let's get a closer look. Here's a close-up of those parts. The disc brakes, they are made of plastic and they look very nice there. The brake caliper is also plastic. The drive shaft is metal. The U-joint for the drive shaft is made of plastic. We have the pin. The hub is made of metal. Very nice, and it does identify it as the right side. FD02 and FD08 screws. First thing we do is we insert this on top of the other part of the brake disc. Just line up the holes. That's what that looks like there. Now we work on the drive shaft. Drive shaft, this will insert just like that. And we have a pin that needs to go into this. The pin has some serrations on the end of it. It's supposed to help lock it in. And there that is. I may put a little tap of super glue on that just to hold it in place, but very little because you don't want it to spread. So that's how that looks. Bring over the hub. Going to insert the brake disc on top of the hub like that. Turn this over. Bring over the brake disc. That's going to insert. There's a pin that this lines up to. We're going to put a screw into this. FD08 screw goes into this. That looks good there. Now bring over the axle shaft. We're going to insert that into that. Bring over the wheel. Now we're going to mount the wheel to the axle. The axle has an octagon shape, so the wheel doesn't actually spin on top of that. And the wheel also locks into the brake disc. You can see the notch there, so we need to line that up. Here we go. So what actually spins is the axle shaft. Okay, when the wheel turns, the axle shaft turns. See that? Okay. Now we need to put our screw into this. I'm going to put an FD02 screw into this. It has a flange. That's good there. And the last thing, put on the knockoff. Great. That's what that all looks like. You can see this is free spinning. Nice. That's all we do with stage 66. Let's get started on the final stage for pack 14, stage 67. Let's look at the final stage for pack 14, stage 67. This time I get the parts for the left rear outer wheel and knockoff, our wing nut. There's the parts. There's the parts there. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for stage 67. Let's get a closer look. Here are the parts. The knockoff, once again, is plastic, has a magnet on the back side, and the wheel itself is made of metal. Looks great. I don't actually do anything in this stage, so that will complete pack 14. I will be right back. And that completes pack 14. Had a blast building this. There wasn't a whole lot to do. It was a very quick pack indeed, but I have a feeling it's going to get a little more complicated. We're going to start installing some of the side panels. We put the batteries in. We checked out the accelerator pedal, and that worked out very nice. Fully assembled the right wheel and tire and brake component and drive shaft. And got parts for the left wheel. Stay tuned for pack 15. If you would like to get this for yourself, head over to DeAgostini Collectibles and subscribe to this car today. It's fantastic and a real beauty. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel. Smash that like button. Happy modeling, everybody, and take care.